to be making sourdough crackers with my sourdough discard. So if you're making a new starter, or if you've been baking sourdough bread and pastries for a long time now, you know that you always have extra discard. So a good way to deal with that is give it to friends so that they can also start their own sourdough home practice. Or you can make things like waffles, crackers, and other pastries with your discard. So the recipe that I like to use is from the King Arthur flour website. It's 1 cup of flour, a half teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of starter, and a 1/4 cup or 4 tablespoons of butter. And it's that easy. I'm just gonna flip the camera now and show you guys the process. I have my 1 cup of flour here measured out. It's in, full disclosure, a dirty pastry bowl because I did just make some pie dough. But we're in quarantine mode, so I'm trying to get as much done today as possible in the kitchen. The next thing I do is I add in my salt. This is the half teaspoon of Himalayan salt. You can use sea salt, any kind of salt, but hopefully high quality. And then I usually I use my hand, I'm gonna be honest. You can use whatever you want. Stir it all in. Then I add in my butter. I'm using Kerrygold. Hopefully you're using something high quality that's local or grass-fed. And so you guys know the method for we're just mixing the butter in until it's like totally mixed in. I find my hand is the easiest thing to do this with. It's gonna be kind of like a pastry crust. It doesn't have to be like super duper mixed in, but it's gonna be smaller than that pea size that you go for usually when you're mixing butter into flour for pastry dough. So just get it as mixed in as you can. If you're 2 hands would be better. I'm holding the camera though, so I can't. Okay, so that's pretty mixed in. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is, see, it's kind of holding together, but it's flaky, it's shaggy. Try to get it off your rings and your hands. Okay, and then next I have my cup of sourdough discard that I'm adding in. I keep my starter on the thick side. You're gonna wanna get all that out. I'm gonna get it out with a spoon in a second. Okay, so then I'm just gonna stir this all up. And here's what your dough is gonna look like. It's a little bit shaggy, but it's together. It's softer. It's kind of like in between, I'd say, bread dough and pie dough. That's where your recipe could differ a little bit. If you keep your discard starter on the wetter side, you're gonna wanna add more flour. If you keep it on the thicker side, you might have to add a little bit more water. So that's up to you, and there isn't a right or wrong. This is about experimentation, so it's just going to depend on what you like, how you like your crackers to turn out, and just something I'd say in between bread dough and pie dough would be pretty perfect. And now, since we're using sourdough, the whole point of this is that we're trying to have these little microscopic bacteria working for us. They are pre-digesting the gluten and the lectins in the grain before we eat them. So this recipe says you can leave this dough refrigerated for at least 30 minutes in the refrigerator before you bake it, but what I like to do is leave it at room temperature with like a saran wrap over the dish or a beeswax wrap over the dish for at least 4 to 6 hours. Then I wrap really tight in saran wrap and I set in my refrigerator overnight. Sometimes I go up to like a couple days, but like 24 hours is great to let it kind of do a refrigerator proof. Then I roll my dough out. So I'm gonna let this sit out at room temperature 4 to 6 hours, wrap it in saran wrap, stick it in my refrigerator overnight, and then tomorrow morning or maybe during lunchtime when I'm like, I'm out of snacks to feed the kids, I'll bake them then. And I'll go through that process next. Hey guys, here is my dough. It's very firm. It's been in the refrigerator, honestly, for a couple of days. The first batch I baked, I caught my oven on fire. Word to the wise, only reuse your parchment like 2 times. Okay, I'm gonna roll this out and I'm gonna get you guys going with the rest of the process, but I just kind of wanted you to see just how firm this is. It's really easy to work with. Okay, I cut my dough in half. So if you're making just one like just one of the recipe, you're not doubling it, you'll cut your ball in half and you roll it out as thin as you can go. I like to go like as thin as I can because they puff up in the oven. So a pizza roller works really good, but this is what I have. I actually don't have a pizza roller. So I just cut mine into whatever shapes you want. If you have kids, doing cookie cutters is fun too. So I just cut into squares. They're not perfect. And then I'm gonna go through on the rest. So we're just gonna grid this the whole way. It's just hard for me to do holding the camera. And then, so in the original recipe, you can use herbs, like you can put dried herbs in, but I actually like to use an herbal olive oil to brush mine with. So now we're gonna brush. Today I'm actually using an egg wash, which is just a whole eggs like whisked together with water because I baked buns this morning and I have it, it's just here like extra left over. Then I'm gonna crack this pink salt. Crack, crack, crack. I need 2 hands. And then the next thing you do is you then take a fork and you're gonna just make holes in each cracker, you know, wherever, willy-nilly, because they're gonna puff up in the oven. Okay, and so I also, I'm gonna mention I like to roll mine on a piece of parchment paper so that I can easily take this whole parchment piece and stick it right on my my baking sheet, the one that caught on fire. Okay, so that's it. I'm gonna put this on my baking sheet. I'm gonna throw it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes, maybe a little longer, maybe a little bit less. You gotta keep an eye on these things. Everyone's oven's gonna do something different, and everybody's gonna have probably their crackers rolled out a little bit differently. And then when they're all done, I will give you guys a little view of those. There they are, all ready for the oven. Well, it's time to eat a nice bowl of crackers in the sunshine. The outer edges always get a little bit browner and crispier than the ones in the center. And I probably could have even rolled these out thinner, I see. But it's perfect. I like the crispy brown ones, and Bodie, my son, likes he calls them the not burnt ones. But see, super easy, and these are my favorite little bits. Really good way to use your discard, nice fermented crackers, and you can feel good about the whole family eating them. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and that you have success in your cracker making endeavors.